The film begins at the United States Embassy in Islamabad, Pakistan, where Dave, based in Washington, receives an urgent call from Mike, an ambassadorial representative. Mike informs him that a group of American missionaries is trapped in Sarid, a city near the Afghan border, and requires immediate evacuation. Dave, already aware of the mass exodus of civilians from the country, grows increasingly alarmed when Mike emphasizes that the individuals in danger are American citizens. Dave shares critical intelligence, noting that enemy forces have infiltrated the region, with militants already responsible for attacks on a school, a government facility, and the embassy in Kabul. As Mike begins to relay the names of the missionaries, the call is abruptly cut off. The scene then shifts to Kunar province, where a helicopter is struck by a rocket-propelled grenade, sending one soldier crashing to the ground. Regaining consciousness in the rugged wilderness, the soldier surveys his surroundings and attempts to contact his unit, Warhorse. Struggling to repair his radio, he fails to reach his team but manages to establish communication with the control room. He reports the crash and urgently requests drone support to locate him. Once identified, he instructs the control room to scan the crash site for survivors. Spotting insurgents on a nearby hill, he warns of their approach. Moments later, the insurgents launch another assault on the downed helicopter. Taking cover behind rocks, the soldier engages in combat, eliminating several attackers before signaling for his team to converge on his position. Meanwhile, his commander, Jays, assumes control of communications and warns him that 40 to 50 rebels are advancing. Jays orders him to retreat and regroup with the unit at base, stressing that he cannot afford to lose more men. He promises to return and ensure everyone's safe passage home. However, Miro, the soldier, becomes cut off from communications and is forced to face the insurgents alone. Growing increasingly concerned, Jays instructs Lieutenant Ree to assist Miro with his communication issues. Miro presses forward, navigating through hills and forests while pursued by hostile forces. He pauses briefly to neutralize several insurgents but soon encounters another blockade near the crash site. After a brief firefight, he makes a daring leap off a cliff into the Kunar River. Emerging on the opposite bank, he continues his struggle for survival. Crossing a nearby road, Miro discovers a wrecked jeep. Recognition dawns as he realizes the man inside is someone familiar. Their helicopter had been shot down while escorting this man and his family to safety, the very missionaries Mike had mentioned earlier. Hesitant, Miro asks if the man is Matthew Williams. Gravely injured, Matthew pleads for help to save his daughter before succumbing to his wounds. Turning to the girl, Miro asks her name. She replies, Zoe. Carefully lifting her from the jeep, Miro accepts responsibility for her protection and begins the arduous task of finding her refuge. Together, they set out toward the mountains, trekking through unforgiving terrain. Meanwhile, Rodam, the militant commander, arrives at the jeep and surveys the scene of the dead mercenaries. His subordinate reports that all have been killed but reveals the discovery of two sets of tracks, those of a man and a child heading east. Enraged by this oversight, Rodam orders his men to scour the terrain as punishment. As they disperse to search, Rodam receives an update from another commander, who asks whether the fugitives have been found. Rodam chastises him for allowing the American to escape, declaring that no one is more determined to capture the infidel than he is. The commander then provides intelligence that the pair is heading directly toward Aramid and instructs his men to pursue. On the hillside, Miro pauses to adjust Zoe's scarf, preparing for the journey ahead. Miro cautions Zoe that they must remain vigilant, as someone might spot them. He reassures her that he is a kind man, unlike those who harmed her parents, and expresses his wish to be her friend. Gaining her trust, they continue their journey. Eventually, they reach a cave where Miro notices rebels patrolling above. He signals Zoe to stay quiet and stealthily ascends, neutralizing the threats with precision. Once the area is secure, he guides her away and navigates through winding trails until they arrive at another cave. There, he instructs Zoe to sit quietly while he surveys the surroundings for danger. Stepping outside, he contacts his base and reports that he has a young child with him who requires urgent evaluation. The response is discouraging, no air support is currently available. Realizing they must wait, Miro resolves to protect Zoe by preparing defenses. He conceals a landmine beneath nearby bushes, and when Zoe approaches curiously, he explains it as a surprise for the bad guys. Gently, he instructs her to return to the cave and remain safe while he prepares for what lies ahead. To comfort her, Miro tells a bedtime story, momentarily distracting her from the horrors around them. As she drifts into sleep, his thoughts return to the fateful helicopter mission that brought them here. He recalls the urgent mid-flight briefing: evacuate U.S. citizens immediately. On board were William Walters, his family, 6 friends, and a rookie trooper. Without warning, chaos erupted when the helicopter was struck by an RPG. The pilot's frantic shout echoed just before he leapt out. The explosion jolts Miro awake, and he quickly rouses Zoe, urging her outside. As she steps into the night, her eyes widen in terror at the sight of an approaching enemy soldier. In a swift, decisive motion, Miro eliminates the threat with his knife. The brutality of the act, however, triggers traumatic memories for Zoe, the violent loss of her family at the hands of their ruthless leader, Jar Yu, and his followers. Paralyzed by shock, she is gently lifted by Miro, who guides her toward safety. They press deeper into the dense forest, carefully traversing the underbrush, aware that Rodam's forces are tracking them. When Miro senses their presence, he motions for Zoe to remain silent and hides behind a tree. They wait in tense stillness until it is safe to continue. In a moment of vulnerability, Zoe confides her longing for her mother and how deeply she misses her father and brother. Miro responds with a somber acknowledgement that loss is an unfortunate part of life, prompting Zoe to weep quietly. Remaining vigilant, Miro scans the area with binoculars as they move further into the wilderness. Suddenly, Zoe rises and begins to explore. By chance, she encounters a member of Rodam's group, who questions why she is alone in the woods. Without hesitation, she points to Miro and insists she is not alone. The soldier turns to Miro, concealing his wireless device, and feigns innocence, claiming to be a goat herder searching for his lost animal. He explains that his Kalashnikov is only for protection against militants. When Miro urges him to lower his weapon, the soldier promises to help them escape if spared. Reluctantly, Miro agrees, leaving behind the wireless device. As they move deeper into the forest, Rodam halts their progress, allowing his men to regroup while engaging Miro in conversation. He speaks of his family and village, attempting to stall for time. His ploy succeeds as reinforcements arrive. Meanwhile, Miro contacts his base to report their location and learns that a jet is on standby at Jalalabad airport. As Radam's men begin to close in, Miro urgently ushers Zoe toward a nearby shelter. Gunfire erupts around them as he fights with determination, eliminating several enemy soldiers while desperately seeking a way to protect her amidst the chaos. Though eventually captured, his thoughts remain fixed on Zoe's safety. Zoe is imprisoned in an undisclosed location, and Miro is resolute in his mission to rescue her. Tracking the militants, he confronts a guard, swiftly dispatching him before entering a cave. Inside, he discovers a militant stronghold, where he skillfully eliminates several insurgents and seizes one to lead him to Zoe. When he realizes more armed fighters are nearby, he kills the captive to avoid exposure. Spotting Zoe's bag, he kicks open a door to reach her but is shot by terror. His bulletproof vest saves his life, yet he is taken prisoner. Radam confronts him, threatening death unless he reveals critical information about the helicopter rescue mission. Miro refuses, insisting that disclosure would doom the operation. Enraged, Radam delivers a fiery speech, recounting the countless innocents, men, women, and children, slaughtered for pipelines, corrupt governance, and poppy fields. He claims their mission is to eradicate extremists like Miro. Declaring Afghanistan the graveyard of empires, Radam invokes the fate of Alexander, the Persians, the British, the Soviets, and others, ominously predicting Miro will share their downfall. Miro counters that he is not Afghan and will not perish there, but Radam retorts that even Americans will fall. He orders his men to bring Zoe. Seizing the moment, Miro frees himself from his restraints and swiftly kills Radam. Emerging from the bunker, he eliminates insurgents one by one as he races to find Zoe. His path is blocked by Turd and Jara. Turd sends Jared to distract him, but Miro outmaneuvers and kills Jared, then dispatches Turd as well. Yuf attempts a surprise attack from behind but meets the same fate. Ascending a staircase, Miro is stabbed in the back by a militant. Despite the wound, he pushes forward, entering a hidden chamber behind a curtain where Zoe is locked in a cage. After killing her captive, he frees her and leads her outside, though extremists pursue them relentlessly. Carrying Zoe up a ridge, Miro attempts to signal for help. Despair overwhelms him as militants close in, and in a moment of vulnerability, he declares Zoe to be his angel. Just then, U.S. Marines appear unexpectedly on the opposite slope, launching a fierce assault against the insurgents and providing cover for Miro and Zoe.
Are you hit?
Though the militants fight back with intensity, they are ultimately defeated. As survivors flee or are killed, the rescue team reaches Miro and Zoe, guiding them toward the awaiting helicopter. Zoe looks at Miro with gratitude and admiration as they escape together. Thus concludes their harrowing journey.